Feeling more pressure but appears in the media. Better stop treating small or medium. I'm extra large, big ticket, premium. Bound that down, you believe in me. Yeah, I'ma lay it down, grabbing that crown. Laying dollars on the ground, gonna double up now. 65, 4, 3, 2, one more time. Heavy punchline about to cruise. Let it go, let it out, let it go, let it out. Take a deep breath, deep breath, deep breath, deep breath. Lay low, lay high, lay low, lay high. If you feel my vibes, then pop with me. Let it go, let it out, let it go, let it out. Take a deep breath, deep breath, deep breath. Lay low, lay high, lay low, lay high. Clear your head now, watch a peek. Let me go improve my work, let me earn it. Gonna pass this test to get me a permit. Watch how I do, sit down, observe it. Fires in my soul, uncontrollable pressure. Take a deep in, look at me now. Correct your bones, the root cool, make you bow now. Class of one to a point to see. Blow a kiss goodbye while they scream and shriek. Let it go, let it out, let it go, let it out. Take a deep breath, deep breath, deep breath, deep breath. Lay low, lay high, lay low, lay high. If you feel my vibes, then pop with me. Let it go, let it out, let it go, let it out. Take a deep breath, deep breath, deep breath. Lay low, lay high, lay low, lay high. Clear your heads now, watch a peek.
Get ready for the next battle, ladies, gentlemen, Zaydams, and everyone else in between. My name is SPF Dark, and we're coming at you live here at Dow Productions to bring you yet another Squid Junction. Now, before I get too ahead of myself, I am joined with someone here tonight.
Hello everyone, my name is A. Very happy to be here, honestly. It's going to be an exciting short tournament. So pretty excited to see some of these sets, and I'm glad I'm here.
And as you mentioned just right now, it is going to be a relatively short tournament as opposed to our other Squid Junction. For today, we only have 7 teams that will be showing us here today. We'll probably, honestly, we'll probably run through this in 2 hours or less. Whether we stay here for the entire block or not, that's up in the air. But 2 hours is probably our run time for tonight.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and see what we could manage with these sets, and see some, some players duke it out, and see who comes up on top in this tournament.
But these teams are going to be coming at it here in just a second, as who we'll be watching first is Apt versus a Retirement Plan. Now, I say this time and time again whenever I'm on the stream, but I don't know teams, I don't know players, I'm just here for the entertainment. I really can't tell you what insight we'll be seeing with these 2 teams, but I will give you that live reaction. And up first, as well, is Zones on Mahi Mahi, which I've always said, the map really doesn't become a map until the 60-point mark.
Yeah, and we're gonna go ahead and see these comps coming out and popping out here, and interesting comp. Don't often quite see this in this quite cramped map, so I'm excited to see how this will work for either team.
I see the vision with the blaster. As a blaster player myself, I always love seeing blasters getting played in any capacity. And on paper, the blaster should be popping off here because, yeah, as you mentioned, it's a tight, cramped space. But no, as I say that, Act just comes in running with a wipeout almost immediately, and they're moving forward, holding their positions, getting ready to defend, and just stall out Retirement Plan as best as they can.
Yeah, not really giving them a breathing room here, but making the transition back into a zone here, and this junior's holding pretty well, honestly, and going ahead and popping up the Zuka, scrambling in their side.
And in the midst of that chaos, the map did change. We did see the water level drop, and now there is more area for retirement plan to try and rush in, try and retake Clone. But no, Apt is proving to be too strong. Their defenses are being too tough to break through. As the smash out does come out to try and create some space, and does create Apt a little bit more extra space. Retirement plan going with the hammer, but no, it gets shut down immediately with 2 players down on retirement plan. It's gonna be scrambled for the zone to try and retake it, but 3 is down for Apt. This could be retirement plan to try and take it here and now, but no, it's not quite enough. They're fighting strong, and they've managed to hold up, but not enough. Just letting go at 1 point.
Well, you know, it's never over till it's over, and I can't believe what I'm seeing. I didn't think we would see the other team have a chance. I think. Really excited how they're gonna hold this, and I don't know, they're transitioning back easily into the map and just getting those picks. I'm pretty sure that, I don't know, is there something that they could do?
It's a very hard thing to ask right now, as what Retirement can be doing to try and extend their lead as best they can is now Apt very quickly, might I say. They just took zone, flushed Retirement Plan out almost immediately, and they're having such a stronghold over mid, but this Bass is going to go in with an instant zone flip with that spell to create more space, get that zone, and keep those penalty points nice and healthy for Apt.
We got a quick view of the Carvin. I don't know how that person stayed alive, but we're going ahead and see getting these picks in mid. I mean, it's pretty going. I really think that the purple team or the other team is having a chance here and might be able to get back zone and hopefully switch around. I don't think you can count them out right now. I think they're easing, slipping in, noticing patterns. Hopefully catching their habits and seeing if they can have an answer.
The name of the game right now is time as we head to 50 points remaining, 2 minutes remaining for Retirement Plan to hold on for a little bit longer. This could be the ties that they need to try and take this game over. And an upset against Apt as 2 does go down for Apt. Retirement Plan looking to try to flush out the remaining members of Apt as they go in and hunt them down. But no, Apt takes control of the zone. They're trying to flip it and regain control. But 2 does go down for Apt. Retirement Plan holding strong as they try desperately to reclaim it. But no, that zone is still uncontested. Retirement Plan finally managed to get that flip in the nick of time.
I can't. It's back and forth. It's my turn or your turn. It's never and going ahead and wiping down. I'm telling you, this in-game adaptation, this mid-game adaptation. You see it, and it really shows how well teams perform in such a tense moment. You know, you can't. It's so preemptive, but you have to adapt in these games and sets in order to win, and we kind of see that right now as the junior man plays in and going ahead and getting the pick with a splashdown. I can't wait to see what either way, like, the pendulum swings.
With 1 minute remaining, this game the gap has closed tremendously between these 2 teams. Retirement Plan putting up a fight at the end. Later half of this game is 3 does go down for Apt. They're going in to try and get this lockout right here and now to finish this game once and for all. 45 seconds and remaining. Apt has to play out a miracle to try and win this game back from this dangerous position here as his penalty points are starting to tick away. Almost gone at this point. Apt has to go in now to try and reclaim this zone if they don't want to lose it, and they do manage to take it with a wipeout on top of that.
It's so tense too. It's so close. It could be, these 20 seconds could lead to a chance. It just comes to just being able to just confidently move in mid as they're locking in. They're locking in every position in the map, but they're going the other way. They might have to adjust to that side. Cooler's out. The Carbon whips 2 picks. Oh, but gets 1, but doesn't kill the hammer successfully. Oh, they can go either way. They could cap here with a splat.
Oh no!
And it could go. Oh, and it contest!
Oh, in a buzzer beater play, Retirement Plan couldn't quite get the cap in time, getting this first game to Apt in what should not have been a neck-and-neck victory, considering how the first minute of that game went.
Well, I'm happy. That it's starting off strong, a little too strong. You know, it's a little too tense. I don't know. I really like how both teams are performing, especially in their strong special plays and how they maintain holds and stuff. And but for like those in-game situations, it's really hard to be able to confidently get picks, especially when you're dealing with specials like that, like Zuka, Splashdown, Dome. So, and the better team, like, was able to paint and cover all the corners, and so I'm glad to see that.
Retirement Plan did a tremendously well job here staying alive for as long as they did, considering just the 1 point difference Apt had before they were able to take victory right in that first hold. But now we're going to be seeing exactly what Retirement Plan is going to want to do as we head into Tower Control on Mako Mar. What are we going to be seeing from them? I do expect this Blaster to save, or if the first game we saw Blaster for a relatively like mid to maybe high Blaster favor map, I do think we're gonna see the Blaster return here as a guarantee, because I love playing Blaster on this map, especially on Tower Control.
And this has been Blaster's strongest map, in arg in actuality, because it's so easy to get picks. It's such I think the map is very condensed and it has a lot of barriers where you can just climb up walls and be able to get really quick, really close picks. And this map has been a favorite for Blaster players for I don't know, 6 years since the map came out. I don't know. I'm too old now. So I'm glad to see that it hasn't really changed, and we're gonna continue to see Blaster favorite comps. So let's see how it goes.
And as we're seeing here, this is a match point for App. We're right now at a best of 3 setting. So if App takes his next game, they will be moving on in the bracket. And it's up to a Retirement Plan right now to try and reclaim that what could have been a victory for that first game without a Blaster, which I'm shocked to see. And in place, we do see the Nautilus come out.
No matter how much we glazed Blaster, there was no Blaster in this combo. We do get to see a junior pick for that Dome, heavily utilizing it for being able to get through this first checkpoint here as the Carbon confidently goes up and covers that upper level area of the map, being able to get past this checkpoint.
App doing a phenomenal job right now, getting this a very good opening on their ends. That first checkpoint gone already, slowly marching on towards that second checkpoint, getting a few extra steps. The aggression from App is beautiful here as they're just slowly moving in. The Retirement Plan knows their game plan, especially with that first game. They're holding on to a lot better than they did that first game, not letting it go as far as they did. But as I say that tower's slowly moving to that second checkpoint, potentially to the third checkpoint if Retirement Plan doesn't do something right here, right now.
They're just so confident in getting these picks, just swifting through that base. They have to find a quick answer here, and they have to play a little patient here because they're just answering to any of their aggressive plays, and that's game.
Just like that, with a explosive first game between these two teams, it just kind of pivoted to a sort of anticlimactic ending for App as they took that win and that victory without any contestation.
And it very anticlimactic because it was it could have gone either way in that from that first game that we went ahead and saw, but just showing dominance. And I don't know if Retirement Plan has an answer, and good stuff to add to being able to confidently play through that map and in that set in general.
At that point, as Retirement Plan, you're just kind of going through a coulda, woulda, shoulda kind of scenario. But at the end of the day, sometimes that's the kind of losses you have. You have a very close first game that you could have potentially won into a game that you had no contest with whether you could actually win, and that's just the name of the game. The best thing you can do right now is just move on ahead and see what is going to be happening next, as we do get a preview on the bracket. App moving forward will be going up against, I believe that's Into the Creative team name. So I'm excited to see exactly how that will pan out, as we do see exactly what the rest of the remainder bracket might look like.
And I do believe that there is a comeback factor. I don't believe we can count these teams out that are, especially Retirement Plan. We will see some exciting sets and maybe some adaptation and maybe some boost of confidence and say, okay, let's chill, let's calm down, as we see later in the bracket and later in the sets.
And up next, we are still waiting on the results of one game, but we do know one team who will be playing, and that's Lischlachter, what I can only assume to be a at least German, if not European at the very least. Yeah, I'm American through and through, so I apologize for the name butchering if there is, but you cannot blame me if I'm on the mic, like, you know?
Yeah.
No, sorry, I was coming. I thought you're good. Go on.
I'm not familiar with the team in Lichschlotter, but I'm excited to see. They are seeded 3, so they might have some potential players that have had good results in the past and confidently gone through brackets. And so I'm very excited. We never know in these small tournaments. You know, someone might come up on top and show their talent and their might in these tournaments. But there's really no pressure. It's really just being able to show confidently that you can play the game.
And I was going to mention too, with it being such a small tournament run, there's only so many teams on there, so there could be bigger gaps or smaller gaps between the 2 seedings, and it's just saying your third seeding in this bracket in general. it's like a what's the word, like it's, I think, like Pavlov's something, where like it both has some weight, but it doesn't have weight at the same time, simply because there really isn't a big sample size to accurately display it. But you did get placed relatively high for a reason, so it's a gamble as to exactly what we might be seeing performance-wide from Lichschlotter. But we do know from that bracket update that they will be going up against Honkai.
Now looking at their team, of Honkai's team, there's a lot of familiar players and all really good. So let's see how they be able to go through this set and hopefully show if either one can go on top.
And I'll say too, as we're sort of like just stalling for time and just keeping the mics hot for the time being, you mentioned this before we went live, but you are an active member for the competitive scene, right? You play, yeah.
Yes,
I am a retiree from like 2 years ago at this point.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I did like half a year on launch to like to the turn of the new year before I retired. But I mean, I've been casting ever since, but I do have like some foundation here. But I did want to ask you, because you have more experience on a fundamental level than me for competitive scene, some of these map modes. What I like to hear is your opinion on Scorch Gorge Clanlets.
Oh, well. You know what? I can't really give you an answer, you know? I think through the patches, you know, of crack and cheese, that was really a headache. It was incredibly stressful, especially when you're trying to push and building clams and being a unit with your team, and communication was such a stressful thing. That's why I think having, you know, team cohesion and prioritization, like just having a team with a brain. Am I making sense? It's so found bare bone, fundamental, and it's such an important factor. Oh yeah, you can just get 4 kills, be a 52 gal player, get 4 picks. Yeah, go for it. But in better teams, it's gonna be a lot more difficult. There's gonna be a lot more special usage, a lot more, you know, paint heavy, more. There's going to be a lot more teams that are going to look heavy on the map. So, and now I think it's, I wouldn't say worse or better. You know, it's either way. I don't know. But I'm interested to see what you think about the current map pool that's being played out here.
I will say, I do realize that I do realize that our first map isn't actually Clams, it's Scorch Gorge. It is Zone's Barnacle Dive. But the reason why I mentioned Clams Scorch Gorge specifically because I do have a personal vendetta against Clams Scorch Gorge. The thing is, back when I was still actively playing, I think it was Ludi season 13, season 12. It's one of the two. I forget when, but there was from mid to late season in that season in particular, there was, I think, 3 or 4 weeks where Scorched Clams was on the map list back to back to back to back. So we'd always be playing Scorched Clams every single week.
That sounds horrible.
We got tired of it, and I do not want to see that map anymore.
You know, and it's so strange because I think I used to have that feeling for maps that were known to be horrible to play in, but the more I played it, the more I was like, it's not bad. I think it's not. The more you're familiar, I think the more you like it. I don't know. It's such a strange phenomenon, but I definitely feel that vendetta too. I completely feel you there. I don't know. Well, it's just something we had to get through, you know. So.
And I will say too, the other reason why I didn't want to talk about Clams Scorched specifically because I personally don't really have any opinion on Barnacle Zones. To me, it's kind of a nothing map. There really isn't too much going for it. Like there are like some like angles you could take. There are like a few like ledges you can hide it for, but to me, it doesn't really have too much of identity. It's just kind of a flat map with like relatively open sight lines, and that's about it. It doesn't have that Splatoon gimmick, you know?
I agree, and I think the opening is pretty standard. I think there's only a few openings that are kind of vital, you know, and that's which is going straight through mid and one going through the far right flank area. And when I played a lot of the sets, it's usually that right side that would have a lot of the impact, and a lot of players wouldn't have that much mind into it. So it is a really flat map, but there's so much. I feel like in the same way, so much room for strategies, you know.
Yeah, that's one thing I do actually like about Barnacle is the fact that like because it's sort of like a relatively like middle of the ground, nothing really stands out map, it does open up itself to be like for you to be able to play like just a wide variety of like weapon comp lineups and pretty much whatever it is like you're more comfortable with, because there really isn't an advantage to one specific weapon class over the other here. And I will say, speaking of the map layout in general, I always forget that they reworked this map and added those wings to the side. And the reason why I always forget it, because no one ever uses it. It's such a like did nothing addition to it that it's like whatever, man.
You know what? That is a very funny thing you brought up. I didn't pay attention either. When the patch dropped, I was like, what is this? Well, the more I played it, the more it kind of made sense, but then it didn't make sense. So I think as it goes, and we'll see it in the sets here, we're gonna see how either team uses that side. I think usually it's either a drop to go straight mid, or a flank for the enemy to just be like, hey, can I just watch this spot? So I'll be interested to see. I think it has a great area. I'm not sure, and that is usually a part where long range weapons can have a good chance, you know, either using special or getting some pain in or anything. So I'm really curious to see how either team plays this out and plays for the map.
And I'll say too, pulling a little bit back from the podcast portion of this blog, we are looking at Honkai versus Lichtschlachter as our second round in bracket for Squid Junction. A 7-team bracket, might I add, but it is what it is. Already these two teams kicking it off, and I'm very excited to see what we are going to be seeing from these weapon lineups, and I'm already very interested.
Yeah, and I think pretty foundational for the team of Honkai. We have the dualies, we have the squeezer, we have the 52 gal. Very solid weapons that can be able to just confidently kill, paint, move quickly, and for Lichtschlachter, very unorthodox cop. I do love to see a decap every now and then, and so far we haven't seen it. I really want to see something played out here.
Playing it out might be difficult from Lichtschlachter as they're being forced back bit by bit. Even with the tactical or online, Honkai is proving to be too dominant right now, just keeping them on the back foot constantly with these picks, these special usage, just keep creating more space, and a phenomenal painting job too. There's not a lot of pink on the stage right now for Lichtschlachter to try and move around and try and get some momentum going, but the Decapitator does go in the backline to try and create some space, harass the backline from Honkai, creates some chaos in there, but 2 goes, no wipeout, a wipeout from Honkai, meaning Lishlocker can just flip the script immediately and take zone without any contestation.
And wiping out and hope and maintaining a confident state here, being able to handle it, but not quite as the Crab Tank. I forgot my specials. Crab Tank comes out and pushes out here and leads their team, and the Killer Whale out here smoothly transitioning and getting that zone back.
And then I watched that NZAP drop right on top of the bomb, getting picked immediately before any sort of fight happens. And now Lishlocker has a tactical or online to try and use this aggression to their advantage. A trade out does go out in favor for Lishlocker because they do have the tactical, so they'll be back faster than the Honkai player. And already it's a fight out on this ledge to try and reclaim dominance. But Honkai is once again proving too strong right now as they're keeping Lishlocker back further and further. But 3 down on each side. These teams are neck and neck with their picks.
Hold a minute now. I think being able to hold this confidently, especially from the decaf, but going down in mid as the Zuka, being able to pop in and hold that control, they're saying, no, you need to stay back. We have zone. And we're able to hold this and confidently so, being able to just get the answers to their team.
And even though there has been a lot of like back and even trades between these 2 teams, where Honkai is sitting right now as Lishlocker, you actually don't want to be seeing that now. For if you go even, there is no gain in advantage in lead for Lishlocker, meaning the game slowly slipping away from you. And with 15 points remaining, you gotta try and get as many advantages as you can. With 3 down, potentially 4 down, you gotta make a breakaway to get this zone as fast as you can. You gotta use whatever you can to get the zone, and you do get the zone in the nick of time before Honkai comes back and just takes that back right before any major damage can be done.
And a major clutch from the Reef Slider, being able to hold down the fort a little longer, but Ivy Woomy handling the situation, getting confidently going in for 2 picks. But able to take that down and seeing if they can cap zone and have an answer to their pretty aggressive message here from Honkai as the Zuka comes out and gets a pick.
Scramble right now. Both of these teams are trying to get the pick over one another. Tactical or online for Honkai to try and leverage that advantage best they can on top of the Crab Tank, but the bubble is creating too much space and does not do enough for the defenses of Lishlocker as 3 does go down for Honkai, and they're able to move in quickly to get the zone capture and move in to try and meet any returning players from Lishlocker, especially since they do have that tactical at the ready.
That was unfortunate flank that lead to Lishlocher's demise, but don't count him out yet. But it's kind of looking pretty dominant for Honkai, being able to handle the right side here as they easily predict the decaf jumps, but not being able to get the kill, interestingly. But see if they can be able to hold the zone, and unfortunately, no, the game will go to Honkai.
A very dominant display from Honkai, being able to keep Lishlocker as far back as they did for as long as they did. But that's not to count them out either. Lishlocker did an amazing job on the retake to push Honkai back long enough to take a good amount of points for their name. But at the end of the game, it just wasn't quite enough. Honkai was too aggressive for Lishlocker to match, and I do want to see exactly what Lishlocker is going to be doing this in Game 2 to try and amend that.
Lishlocker definitely has a great foundation of being able to handle with their weapons confidently. It's just that Honkai is very fast, especially mechanically. I think their special usage is really fast. They optimize, being able to get specials as fast as they can and being able to handle angles. So if there was any way for Lishlocker to say, okay, we understand that they're super paint heavy, they're super special heavy, how about we be able to counter that and maybe go for a comp change?
Comp changes I'm very much excited to see for both of these teams, actually, as we're going to be moving on to game number 2, Rainmaker Undertow Spillway. Now, you don't know about this, about me, but I am an Undertow hater through and through. I do not like this map at all. I never have, and I never did, and I never will.
I've had some fond memories in this map. This map is horrible. Still not good, but I love this map competitively because it is bad. But it's still used in comp, and I think it has a lot of important factors, especially being able to and especially in Rainmaker, handle the pushes and being able to handle go, using special usage to its advantage and being able to handle aggressive plays, and sharks and painting. There's a lot of of a lot of map knowledge for this, and it's still so important to use for any other map in the game.
I will say, on a strictly entertainment value, Undertow does have a lot of surprising amount of value put into that just for the entertainment alone. But I've
Yes.
never enjoyed playing on this map, and I never will. And I can honestly pass throughout it. You'll see if you're casting with me ever again. I will reveal more of my own hot takes. But that's besides the point. Right now, this is match point for Honkai. Undertow Rainmaker. We're gonna see exactly what adjustments these two teams are gonna be making, and I don't see any at all for the weapons at the very least.
And I think there might be a different approach. They might have something planned out for Honkai, especially handling the quickness and being able to say, hey, we understand that you guys use your special usage correctly. How about we disrupt that?
Special usage could definitely be the name of the game here, especially with those tacticals on both sides. Being able to time those out perfectly is to be vital, especially as a Rainmaker carrier, to be able to do stuff like this, pivoting immediately to go on the right-hand checkpoint for that immediate dunk. Honkai gets the first checkpoint down. It's within 40 seconds.
It was very quick. I didn't even have a chance to blink, and now it's 60. So we're here now, and incredible showing from Honkai. Just being able to be just mechanically, superior. Not to say that Lichschlachter still has a chance here. Being able to just say, calm down. Here, we just need to adapt.
Most definitely. Right now, the Rainmaker is just sitting, waiting to be picked up. Lichschlachter does get the Rainmaker, especially with the tactical online, to try and make that Rainmaker as fast as it can go. And with 2 down for Honkai, this could be the opening. They need to try and actually reverse the script right now to get that checkpoint in hand. That trade-off, as both the members of Honkai are desperately trying to collapse on Lichschlachter, the Rainmaker carrier, to try and stop it. And they do manage to stop it in the nick of time before that duck can actually go through.
And the dome is popping up at the left side here. They could be able to get check, giving confidently getting 2 picks down. Name of the game, adaptation, and they're showing it here.
Adapting is what is definitely, as you said, the name of the game. Lichschlachter is definitely going to start trying to use what they've learned the past game to their advantage, to try and make their advantage as best they can, and they are now sitting at a 10-point difference and 3 players down, with Lichschlachter having the Rainmaker. The tempo is in their hands to try and see exactly how they want to push this out, how they want to play this out. Do they want to go slow and steady? They want to play a highly aggressive? It's only a matter of time before we actually see the game plan, as we do see 1 pick from them.
It's a really smart play too from Kabi, being able to Zuka from usually the spots that people tend to shark and try to shoot from, to just say, let's stop this Rainmaker push. Oh wow, we couldn't see the TCAF confidently saying, stopping this push right in its tracks.
Decapitator showing that it's not a weapon to ever be underestimated. 3 went down for Honkai. Lichschlachter being able to hold that line and not letting any more damage be done. 30 points being the main differential between these 2 teams, as now this Rainmaker is reset back to mid. The Autobomb gets the ends out. That's not what you want to see at this point.
How often do you see that? How often do you see that? Unfortunate from Honkai, but see if they could be able to handle it, and they do handle it confidently as they get 2 picks here, but it goes either way. That's, I guess, the Rainmaker factor. Anything can happen, and it's a wipeout. They could have a chance here.
This is the opening they want. They got to make the hero play right now if they want to try and do some more damage to Honkai. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. The pressure can start building up, especially as I mentioned earlier. This is match point for Honkai, so if they can win this game, they're going to be sending Lichschlachter to the loser's bracket. But the Crab Take is looking to zone out the Rainmaker as best as it can to try to prevent it from moving up forward. And it does get a pick in return and going in on the behind the Rainmaker. That's going to hold that Rainmaker right then and there with the wipeout on top.
The dual wipeout. Neither teams were alive for a nanosecond, but It's so unfortunate. They had a great opportunity, but Honkai, they're saying otherwise. And I want to see them try to show that they can still have a chance here.
45 seconds remaining, 2 down for Lishlaughter. Things are not looking good for them. And when they wipe out on top of that, that could very well be game for them. As Honkai is looking to try and go in as fast as they can to try and get that Rainmaker as deep into the enemy base as they can get it. As they're moving in with specials being used, Crab Take looking to create some more slates. The Dualies goes in. It does stop the Rainmaker from doing any more damage. 24 points. That's what I like to call a near knockout scenario, which I'll get into here in a little bit. But good 10 points and counting. Lishlaughter is done. Has to do a very powerful push to try and get that going. I don't think that's a DC. That's a DC. That's not what you want to see.
Is that a rage quit? I don't think that's a rage quit. It looks like a ordinary lag DC. That's unfortunate. I mean, 13 seconds. They could have maybe had a glory play. I don't know, but unfortunate. Hawkeye takes this head dominantly.
It was an unfortunate ending for Lishlaughter as they had that DC right at the very end. We saw one of the players desperately trying to pick up the Rainmaker, but the connection said otherwise. Honkai doing a beautiful job just dominating this game, not giving any breathing room for Lishlaughter.
And I didn't realize that they had a third opponent, and that being the connection to this game. And unfortunate showing for that third opponent, but either way, good stuff from both teams. I think there were a lot of strengths from either side, but ultimately being Honkai coming up on top.
Both of these two teams definitely have their strengths and weaknesses, and it is unfortunate that Honkai was the one who was able to abuse Lishlaughter's weaknesses the best out of these two teams. Now Lishlaughter is unfortunately set down to the losers bracket as Honkai is now going up in winners brackets finals, might I add, against insert creative name here.
Now, this is a set that can go either way, and I'm familiar with these players. I think this is where a lot of game sense will be highlighted. Oh, well, we can't go. We have a third set. We have a third game, I think, right?
I think
okay.
It is a best of 3.
It's best of 3? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we are moving on from that. Even though the screen says otherwise, we are moving on from that set. As we see here, the bracket preview of our current standings. As I just mentioned, insert creative name here versus Honkai and winners brackets. But down to losers, we do see a few. I want to say interesting developments, but as if I know how these teams are actually performing, but I'm just trying to fill in the space.
And going back to the winners bracket, there's a lot of the two teams that are in the winners have been around so often and have been playing tournaments weekly, so it's going to be quite a showing for either one of these, and especially the lower half of the bracket. There's really some exciting sets to be seen here.
I would like to see that set between Lishlaughter and a retirement plan, because I think that'll be a fun way to round it out. But I also do not know the schedule, nor do I know what's going to be happening next, as we are waiting for our next game to set up and get ready. But in the meantime, I do want to ask you, so going back to podcast mode now, as we're filling in the air, I do want to ask, I mentioned before, I'm a blaster player. I love blasters through and through. I want to know your weapon of choice.
Yes. Well, when the game was released, before that, I think I played Splatoon 2 for, and I think my weapon of choice was Bucket. And then transitioning into Splatoon 3, Machine was dumb, right? It was busted, broken. And it was my weapon for a time, and then I finished around with Stamper, and I've been not using any other weapon apart from that. So I guess I could say, I would say I'm a Stamper one trick, and it helped me, I guess, and it was really fun. But it's definitely a headache.
Yeah, Stamper. I tried that weapon. I am more impartial for the base wiper itself. that's my like secondary, if you want to put it, weapon choice for me. But yeah, I've had like a lot of time with blasters. I played it a ton in 2. I played it so much more in 3, and I will always love it. But as we're filling in more space here, we do see the next game we'll be watching, a best of 5, is going to be insert creative name here versus Honkai, our winner bracket final match.
Oh, and now looking at these map pools, it could go either way. But unpredictably for Haggle or for Humpback Pump Track Rainmaker, it's a map that can swing either way, and so unpredictable situations could occur, especially in that map. But for the rest of the map pool, it looks pretty solid. But I do see Scorch.
Yeah. I let it be known that that was the first map that I noticed off of this list.
Yeah,
and
I thought you would.
Well, I mean, we'll talk about it again if we get to that part, depending on how these two
Hopefully we get to it.
But the first map on this lineup, map mode on this lineup, is Splat Zone's Mahi Mahi. I mentioned this briefly when we first started, but I'll go into more detail what I meant earlier. I call Mahi Mahi the map really doesn't open up until the 60-point mark. From my experience of casting and what I've observed is the fact that whoever gets the first zone typically can just ride it out up until that 60-point mark, until the water drops, and then that's when the match really starts. So it pretty much means whoever gets the first zone capture, usually anyways, gets the 40 points without too much contention, simply because of how tight and cramped this map is pre-water drop.
And I agree with you there, and I do, and we're gonna see it from how the teams open up, and especially and see if they can, confidently handle the first 40 seconds, and see who can handle the first half of the map. Oh, but unfortunate DC in the beginning of the match.
Just a quick remake here. No big deal, It's not like we pay like what, $10, $20 a year for this online service.
We do, don't we? Yeah.
Yeah, it's no big deal. Who would want their service to work perfectly anyways? It doesn't create the drama. Beautiful replay, by the way.
We have a DC replay? That's amazing.
Just the instant you see all 4 players just vanishing into one, just vanishing into thin air, no.
Wow. But back to that, especially that you brought up an interesting point in my eye. I never thought of playing it, especially in competitive. It's very interesting you point out that the opening is very important, and I agree with you. But also how you're able to hold defensively, because you can be able to hold up until the 1 second remaining, and suddenly you just get swapped. That's just platoon zones, and it really comes to just being the better opponent, and that's what I love so much about splat zones competitively.
And I know many will agree with you on that, considering zones is one of the most favorited rank modes in the game. But to pull away from that for a real quick moment, from our websites and from our sources, apparently the player who disconnected wasn't because of their connection issues, but it was because their switch overheated.
Wow. That is unfortunate. That happened to my brother's Switch. I bought him a very nice fan for that occasion, but it's so unfortunate that could be happening.
I will say too that one small potential reason as to why the Switch might have been overheated is the fact that today was actually a packed day for events. There was many events that are occurring right now and earlier today that maybe that player who disconnected or from the overheat was playing earlier, but we'll get to that in after all this. Right now, we're seeing both these two teams face off to get that first zone flip. And insert creative name here does get the first zone flip on top of 2 players pick, make that 3, a delayed wipeout as they're trying to get that last player out. And with the tactical cooler at the ready, they're looking to try and hold this as best they can.
And I like how harsh he's playing in the mid here. Just applying that pressure and the Zuka coming out and just handling that angle side, saying just being able to poke out how they're playing and getting in, and making a better approach to. Oh, but as I say, they're going down, but the brush handles a miracle play going. Oh, but no, getting picked up in the end.
Both these two teams are just playing a game of footsies right now. We'll see exactly who's going to be crumbling first so they can take advantage of that pick. And 2 goes down for insert. Honkai tried to go in with the hammer, but it gets just deleted instantly, rendering it useless as the stage, the water does drop, giving Honkai the first 40 points into their name. And they're still going with these points. 40 points remaining and counting. This is looking very dangerous for insert creative name here.
That was an amazing flick from that wiper, and especially in that bottom edge area, just confidently just showing dominance mechanically. Popping 2 hammers in the middle zone, quite unconventional, but gets the job done. Gets that jump kill, and gets zoned back, and seeing if they can return, the favor and being able to make a comeback.
It's going to be exactly as to how insert creative names is going to want to hold here, as Honkai are looking to try and poke them out, trying to create some space so they can move in. And with 2 down for Honkai, insert creative name looking to keep that hold as best they can. The zone's still under control on their name, as it's just in utter chaos before things are resetting once again. And now insert creative name is going to be the ones who could be taken away with the points here. 20 points and counting. Lead could be taken right here and now.
And wow, unfortunate. They had 2 specials going in, but being counted out and being scoped out. So this game is going to be for insert creative name here.
What a flip that was. Honkai had such a huge lead, but insert creative name played the time, played their strengths, and they were able to manage to bring this out from the brink to a knockout.
I think either team, they were able to show heavy dominance. I believe insert creative name was handling a pretty not so great start, but being able to convincingly come back and handle their special plays, and being able to do so in a way that's more efficient. Being able to just get picks and saying, oh, we were able to get this play confidently, and they handled that quite well.
These two teams are definitely just fighting each other in a bloodbath to try and claim that grand final spot. Neither team wanted to go into losers bracket to have their fate in the balance of losers bracket. Even though it is just only a 7-team run this time around, I do know that there still is some stakes for these two teams, because winning Squid Junction is still winning a run of Squid Junction, and we're gonna see exactly what these two teams are gonna be doing next on Tower Control Mako Mart.
And I'll be interested to see how either comps are played. It's a very, I believe Honkai would still go the same comp. It's a very strong comp. It's very short range. Killer Whale is very great to use and utilize Zuka. But I'm interested to see if there's any close range weapons that maybe can be able to adapt from Honkai.
I'm very curious to see if there will be any weapon changes, but it doesn't seem like there will be too many weapon changes, if at all, actually. I'm pretty sure this is the same weapon lineup we saw from the last game.
If it don't break, don't fix it. It's just I guess it's just more of a, hey, let's figure out our opponent and see if we can be able to handle their game plan. And as we see with this opening Zuka pick, not quite getting anyone here, and the Wiper 1v1 happening left, and 2 go down in the mid, and Honkai getting early start here.
Honkai looking to be the thorn in Integrated Name's side here, being the first seed going up against second seed, which is Honkai. I'm very excited to see exactly what might the results be here, as both these two teams are actually relatively neck and neck with these picks, with these trades, just back and forth fighting on mid. Only 13 points taken for Honkai. It's just not much of a momentum can be built right now.
Not quite as moved on. It's been back and forth, and it's really interested to see that. What were the answers to make it to the first checkpoint here? And like I said, getting 2 picks down and doing so convincingly here as the brush flanks are in the I believe in the left side here. I think they backed up here and they'll be able to go Papazuka and see if they can return the favor here and get an opening push. See if they can get an opening pick, and they do.
2 down for Honkai, and one important thing I want to note here is that Honkai actually didn't manage to get that first checkpoint. That first checkpoint's still up with them, meaning insert creative name here is going to be the ones who are actually going to be pushing this lead and extending it. As another player does go down for Honkai, Kill will have to use to try and disperse players from insert creative name here on top of the splat bomb, the suction bomb, I might say. But another two does go down for Honkai. Things are starting to spiral out of control for them. They got to make something happen here and now, but they want to stay alive.
It was a very cheeky hammer player from the side of Honkai. I believe their wiper player threw the hammer, and one of the players were unaware of it. So very interesting, very pretty cool to see that. It is very impressive too. Let's see, and being able to get some picks here, seeing if they can get control of map. That is Honkai's advantage. Being able, like I said, their comp does utilize getting specials and map quite fast.
Insert creative name now being the ones who are trying to, who are playing it or slowing it down, trying to defend here. Honkai just lost the momentum that they had built up, are now being forced to back up just a bit to make sure they don't utterly lose their presence in mid. But with 3 down, their presence is utterly gone at this point. Insert creative name here has the chance to once again push this tower forward, maybe even extend their lead even further.
Quite a strong showing that they can be able to say, hey, we're aware of what you're doing, and doing so in a way that seems it's impossible to move in, and insert creative name here, just being able to just handle especially their movement and their mechanics, and being able to do so in a smart way, in a very mental gaming. It's not very just let's be better. I'm better than you at aiming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of people what a trouble, by the way. I can't even get my thought out before just saying a triple from the hammer off of insert creative name here. Wow. Anyways, all I was saying is I think some people are like kind of, I don't know why they're kind of not wanting to call it a lot of these plays as tactical, as even though they are, as we see. Well, maybe that might not have been tactical, but you get the idea how it's going.
Yeah, well, I don't know what that hammer was for. Maybe defense mechanism. Could have been either. One
minute remaining, and these two teams it's just an utter chaotic battle in mid to try and get any sort of momentum going. One player now for Honkai, one player now for insert creative name here. It's just a back and forth trade as we see the hammer come out once again to create space, hopefully get some pigs, create some presents, but no! It gets shut down! That's not what you want to see!
Oh, and especially the hammer plays here, it's adding a sense of panic. It really does, disrupt the flow of a lot of the shooter players here, and just oh wow, I didn't even get to the what? And this pencil getting 2 picks here, being able to just handle that DC pretty well.
I think those two picks decided the game right then and there, because with no one being able to contest that tower, game number 2 goes to insert creative name here, bringing them to match point.
Honkai needs to be able to adapt, and I believe they will soon. They will be able to point out, hey, I don't think we're able to outplay their pace. Let's try to be a better opponents and try to paint or do something to just kill off their momentum of insert creative name.
Mm-hmm. This is definitely where the pressure is going to start building for Honkai, whether or not they can keep their mental, keep their skill and their gameplay up during these stressful times on match point in winners bracket final.
Yes.
This is definitely where things are going to start heating up a bit. Honkai needs to be able to make sure they know what they're doing to try and take down what I want to say. Insert creative name has had a dominant run so far. They haven't had dropped a game so far.
Well, That at that point, this is their comfort zone. This is their playing field. It's it's all mental, like you said. It's very true, especially in it. No matter the size of the tournament, it's still a tournament that you play for either bragging rights or proving that you have improved. So, and there's a lot of tension, especially mental, and there could be some times when players, get a little mad or get a little sad. But what really highlights good teams is that they're able to say, okay, we need to calm down. Let's not blame each other. Let's think of a strategy, especially for the next map and mode.
Yeah, with Rainmaker, Humpback, Pump Track around the corner, I will always be an advocate for the fact that mental is such a huge thing for not just this game, but for playing competitive in any game in general. It's such an important thing. It's such an important skill to be able to have, and especially in these high pressure situations, to be able to keep your head straight. It's harder than most people think, and people who've been playing this game in a competitive capacity knows as well how hard it is to just keep it up sometimes. And as we see game number 3, we're going to see exactly how Honkai is going to be trying to adjust their mental, adjust what they're going to be doing up against Enter Creative Name here.
I'm very interested to see how they'll be able to handle their hammer plays, especially from the side of Insert Creative Name here. I feel like they have a lot of solid hammer plays. Oh, and we do see a comp change, going back to the Pain Heavy Cop and the special play usage, and seeing if they can just have an answer.
First pup going over to Integrated Name with 2 picks right behind it. Make it 3 potentially. No, the Gal is still alive with the backup from the end that creates that 2-player down scenario into an even playing field. But the Hammer and the Tactical is all in to try and create more space, and they do get 2 for 1 special before getting shut down by their Splat Dualies.
And the Brush coming in from behind, just swooping around and getting 2 picks, and that's 3 down from the side of. Oh man, getting 4. This Brush does not come out to play.
The Brush is doing Brush gaming as he keeps creating space and getting shit. He tries Zuka to the face as this Rainmaker's going in, and they make a breakaway and dunk that, making this a clean 3-0 for Insert Career Name here.
That was just. They were comfortable. I think they were confident, and they did so quick, and that's how Rainmaker is. I don't think you'll have enough time to say anything. The game will end, and that's the thing that people hate and love about this mode. So, we kind of see Rainmaker in a nutshell there.
Rainmaker, I am a Rainmaker enjoyer, but I do kind of see why it's kind of a little bit polarizing for some people, for exactly for scenarios like this where you just can't do anything about it, and it just doesn't feel good. But at the end of the day, it is part of the game, and there's only so much you can do. Insert Creative Name here did a phenomenal job just being on the constant aggression, keeping Honkai down, giving them no breathing room to fully regroup, and a beautiful showing. Well, hey, since you are a first-time caster here with us in our production team, for those of you who don't know at home, which you probably do know at home, but there is a Splatfest going on right now, and we'll be seeing the live results of the current halftime.
Oh, the halftime. Who did we pick here?
Well, I know who I picked. I don't know who you picked.
I was peer pressured by my friends to pick Wizard.
Well, who would you have picked?
That's a great question. I believe Ninja. Ninja's really cool. I love the purple color. So we'll see here.
My own pick was Wizard. Team Wizard is my pick.
Yes.
So here in just a second, we're going to see exactly who is currently in the lead with the halftime. And if this number is going to be right, it is Team Ninja with the halftime in first place with Team Wizard in last place. All right.
Even by slim margins, it's still a lot.
Honestly, this is the closest Splatfest halftime I've seen in a long while.
I've seen some embarrassing halftime results.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
It's always refreshing to see just a closer game.
mhm. I haven't gotten around to play the Splatfest, but it's really always a treat to play it around, and it does bring the community together, and
Mhm.
a lot of fun, and playing with your friends is really nice.
Mhm. Splatfest, I will always enjoy, and I don't really have the time to play them much of them nowadays, but it is what it is. And as we see here, before we get off topic too far, our next game would be showing you guys is Leschlater versus APT, and I'm excited to see this matchup and to see exactly how these two teams will be playing off of each other. But as we got a bit of time, I do want to mention a few things here off of this. I'm sorry, I had a heavy dinner, but I do want to mention a few things off this bracket. We do see APT and Leschlater did drop one game to their losers round previously. But so I'm very eager to see exactly how I'm very eager to see exactly how these two teams will be going up against each other.
Yeah, and let's see if they can be able to dominantly show in the next set, and being able to especially go through consistent brackets and sets. It's very draining. It's really a test of endurance, and that's why you have top players explain they want to train stamina, competitive tournament stamina, and it's true. The tournaments go on for a while, and even for short tournaments, it could still be draining.
Yeah.
You all the calming, all the being able to do 50 callouts a second. It's nuts.
I mean, even here at Squid Junction, even though this is a 7-player tournament, this is still a 2-hour run simply just because of the numbers of how long these games typically last and just how many matches there are supposed to be for the run. And 2 hours, so you'd be surprised by how hard it is for like a good chunk of people to like not be able to last 2 hours of just playing video games.
Yes, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I've had tournament runs where I think I had 2 in one day, and I was just about done by the last one, and we didn't even win.
Mhm. Yeah, I do not miss those days of just all day tournament runs, but
Yes.
I only pity those of you who do go through that. But in the meantime, we do see Leschlater versus APT. First map mode for this set is going to be Clan Blitz on Museum del Foncino.
Yeah, and I have my opinions, very strong opinions with this map too. I think it is it's heavily dependent on being able to handle the map properly, especially in the top mid area. Just can we talk about Zuka? How ridiculous that special. Let me go straight to the point here. And pencil long range squeezer. It's am I making sense? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays days, Zuka really doesn't bother me too much. I've just kind of grown relatively numb to it. Because honestly, it's this is gonna date me. And it might also date you because I know you've been playing for a while. But none of it compares to just the absolute horror show it was from missile spam towards the end of 2's life cycle.
Oh my god.
Like I'd honestly gladly take this over missile spam at the peak and towards the end of Splatoon 2. Like
I would too, especially since tactical there is a thing. I think it's a lot more forgiving, especially to get hit with a Zuka out of nowhere.
That and Stingray. Those are the.
Yes. How can someone see me?
I am curious to how many of these players, not just here in Squid Junction, but how these current players who are active in the scene as well, concurrently, how many of them actually gone through just the horror zone that was missiles and Stingray spam during 2.
And I really hope they didn't get that much experience with that. It cost me a few years of my life.
It was too much. Too much. It is. I think for the stream community, I think that time is like our equivalent of like war flashbacks of just being reminded of just those horrible times.
The sound
just,
effects.
yeah, just hearing the stingray start up from like across map. You knew like no matter how well you take cover, it was if it nicked you, you were dead. Like, but anyways, our veteran story is over. This is game one, Oct versus APT versus Lich Slaughter, and I'm excited to see exactly what these two teams will be bringing to the table.
Yeah, and using the same comps that they've been using throughout the whole tournament, and seeing if they can able to get those opening picks, especially as we see here in the 52 gal side, or unfortunate 2 down on the side of Lich Slaughter, and showing that.
Wait a minute.
Let's get this. She's really fast.
I think it's like a 20-second power clam Foreman dunk. I've never seen it guts be so fast. APT just going in at the speed, not giving the Slaughter any room to even react to what just happened there.
Well, you know, that's especially in that block there that's near the egg basket. You could just literally run in for free and build 8 clams, and there you won. It's that easy. But hopefully Lich Slaughter has an answer to that too. Hopefully they'll be able to say, hey, can we do the same thing?
Mm-hmm. And now as this game returns back to a neutral state, 48 points remaining for APT. The damage has been done. It's going to be up to Lich Slaughter right now to try and make something happen, to try and remedy some of those points. But 2 goes down for Lich Slaughter. APT looking to go in, but they are on keeping the aggression going up. And now APT once again going in with the power clamp to get additional points, extend their lead, especially with the big bubbler right on the basket.
And it's such a it's such an easy way for App to especially do those quick pushes, because they heavily have map painted, and Lich Slaughter has to be able to handle map control better in order to prevent those situations in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. The map control could be better for Lich Slaughter in order to prevent those just like out of nowhere power clamp formations from APT. But now, once again, this is going to be a game of just footsies right now to try and make something happen, get that pick that you want to try and convert it to a momentum shift in your favor. And with specials coming out left and right, it's going to be a fight to actually finally close down that pick. One goes down for APT, one goes down for the Slaughter, another one goes down for APT. It's a back and forth trade opportunity, these two teams to try and get something going, but with the big bubbler under the power basket, an attempt to try and get that power clamp formed. It is a wipeout for APT. The Slaughter gets the power clamp in the nick of time.
Wait a minute, that's a huge dent. I think they could be able, a few more pushes like that, they can be able to put some, get some tides into their side, you know, be able to potentially win the game. But either way, it could go either way.
2 minutes remaining on this clock. Both of these two teams have shown that they can do a really good job pushing against one another. A trade out goes on for both these two teams. APT is looking to try and stay a bit more back. They have the lead. They don't need to be overly aggressive. They don't have to be Lich Slaughter, or it has to be the ones who actually push up to try and close that gap, remedy some of those points. And now we see the junior in possession of the power clamp with Ben Bubbler. They're just looking to try and back up and just play as slow as they can, stall the Slaughter out for as long as they can.
See if they can find an opening here, just being able to just patiently wait for a mistake, either a mistake or a wrong special usage, as the decap disrupts the flow of play and confidently gets those 2 picks. Like I said, anything can happen in this map.
2 down for APT. Lich Slaughter had the opening. They wanted to try and make something happen, but they are slowed down right now. But every APT doesn't have the manpower to try and defend this, and with the restart going in to create more space, they're looking to try and get that lead potentially. But no, it's not enough. But the Decapitator is on the back line, on the rails. They do get sniffed out, unfortunately. And now we're at 1 minute remaining. 2 down for Lich Slaughter. There's only 8-point difference between these two teams right now.
Unfortunate. Decap was ready. It's so, the timing was so slim. It could have gone. But maybe they'll have another chance here. It's not over yet. And being able to handle it. Oh, as I say that, the Junior goes for another dome pick as the few jumps. This map is beautiful.
I never really like got a good grip of what the entire community feels about this map, but none of that matters right now as we have 20 seconds remaining. APT has 44 points remaining while the Schlotzer has 54 points remaining. This is going to come down to the wire as it's going to go over to overtime as both these two teams have a power clamp in their possession. The Schlotzer running in to try and create space, but no! And they backline jump! APT gets that power clamp done, and there's nothing that can be done about it as they take this first game!
How many times has that happened? It's been 4 times. If it works, it works. You know, why not go in for it 50 times in the whole set?
Yeah, honestly, I'm still so baffled from from this right here. Within 20 seconds, this Junior ran from spawn, gathered enough clamps to only need one additional clamp on the spinner platform to get that power clamp done. Once again, within 20 seconds.
Not only that, but also getting a pick in front of the Nautilus. They were out for blood, and they were out for a good amount of points in that beginning play.
APT definitely is showing that they will not be the ones sent out of this tournament just yet. The Schlotzer are going to be the ones who have to try and fight to stay alive for a little bit longer as we head into game number 2, which is going to be Tower of Control on Inkblot Art Academy, the tried and true for this Splatoon competitive scene.
Launch day map for the second game. It's been around longer than I can remember, and I was curious to ask Dark. This, I would say this is a very strong blaster map, but what would you say?
I think it really depends on the enemy team and your team and how the two of you play with each other and against each other. There are a good amount of ledges to play under, and there are a good amount of like cheeky little spots that you can just be annoying with the blaster. But the thing is with this map specifically is that it's something about the way that it's laid out and that it's built. It's really it's an honest to God, truly neutral map. It could go either way, and it's gonna genuinely go to boil down to skill. So if you're a blaster there's two different types of blaster players. There's blaster players who ride on the weapon to carry them, and there are blaster players who actually know the weapon to the fullest ability. And if you're a blaster player, typically anyways, who rides on the weapon to carry them, you probably won't see too much success here. But if you actually know how to use the strengths of your weapon, you can see a lot of success here.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And being able to heavily utilize, you know, the abilities that the weapon has. But going back to the start of this match, these are opening. They're going for the same strategy. Apt is going for the same strategy, and the Junior just going straight for objective, not giving them a chance or a breathing room to be able to give Schlotzer a chance to build special and get opening picks. They're just going straight into this.
One thing APT has been showing that they are strongest at is just being able to be constantly on the aggression, constantly on the move, not giving Schlotzer any breathing room whatsoever, as that tower is already at the second checkpoint, potentially even going through the second checkpoint as the remaining teams of APT tries to go in, but no! And a sudden turn of events, that's a wipeout for Schlotzer, and they have the advantage right now, and they're looking to try and shove this tower as far forward as they can.
Being able to stop that aggression and hopefully they keep that momentum up, or they say we need to stop this play. Maybe encourage that we need to make them force them into us. Maybe point them into the wrong direction so we have an advantage.
Most definitely, and now it is APT who is struggling to regain footing. 3 down, 2 down for APT. Schlotzer is starting to build up that momentum. That can be scary, but as I say that, 3 do unfortunately go down. That first checkpoint still not taken for Schlotzer, as APT are looking to collapse on any remaining members of them to try and keep this mid zone. And as this tower returns to mid, this game returns back to a neutral state, but not without that screen coming in to just create some space, create some chaos and uncertainty from this push.
Yeah, and the screen heavily utilized to act as like a wall, but not very solid wall. It kind of acts as as a way to just push away the opponent, and being able to pair that up with the special, but not handling it to its full usage as Lichtschlotter, just able to handle their aggression really well and just spread out more evenly out through the map, and then coming together to be able to act as a unit and be able to poke out the plays and habits of app.
And as we see right now, Lichtschlotter is looking to try and sniff out any members of APT who are just trying to come in from a surprise side flank. 2 players down for APT. Lichtschlotter holds advantage right now. The Decapitator doing their thing to try and hold on to the tower as best they can, but they do get picked with a trade out in between, and with Tacticaler and Screen online, and with the rain coming in, it's just an utter use of every special imaginable as Lichtschlotter desperately tries to get that first checkpoint, finally breaking through.
That was a very impressive kill from Golde. I won't even. Incredible gameplay from Lichtschlotter. They could be able to get a huge lead, especially going through this checkpoint here. And Hero holding it down here on this left side here, not giving Fox a chance to come up here. Lichtschlotter might have an answer here.
Lead is taken for Lichtschlotter. APT struggling to actually regroup, properly reorganize themselves. You hopefully using that tactical to probably be able to do it, but no, it's a pickoff immediately from these players. Lichtschlotter keeping this momentum going as APT is now being the ones who are getting the taste of their own medicine. They can't. They're the ones who are struggling to regroup. They're the ones who are struggling to breathe right now. As that third checkpoint that tower's at the third checkpoint finally before APT finally cleans up Lichtschlotter as this tower goes on to mid once again.
And slowly chaining, it's so close to chaining 2 domes. It would have been a huge push, but I'm being aware and kind of putting them in an awkward spot, especially panning around the surroundings here. And as they try to find a quick message here and calling out where everyone is, and just being able to just not give them any breathing space to have any special, just saying, hey, we can't let these guys have any breathing room. We need to get this lead back.
Lichtschlotter has to be very careful here with their next few plays of attack right now. 2 down for APT, 2 down for Lichtschlotter. Both of these 2 teams are desperately trying to fight over this tower control. The Gal comes in with a jump to try to pick, but no, the Nautilus is being forced to back up from the Gal. It's the last player standing from APT to try and keep this momentum going. Another 2 go down for Lichtschlotter. This is slowly slipping away for them as that tower is staying in that checkpoint, potentially even getting it. The screen comes out to create some space. There's only 10 seconds remaining, and another player goes down for Lichtschlotter. This could be the takeaway that the APT wants to try and steal this game away, but one goes down for APT. The tower is still moving. It's still going. It's a scramble for this tower. But then Lichtschlotter fights for it, and they manage to take it in the nick of time.
It could have gone either way. I'm not sure what quite happened there. It looked very solid from the side of Apt. The dome was up. They had everyone looking forward, but they just swooped under the rug and said, hey, I'm over here now. I'm the TC. You guys aren't on it. We might as well get on it and get kills around it, as we see in this replay here.
I think that right there at the end is a prime example of pressure slowly breaking one or the other team. In an overtime scenario where both of these teams are dancing on the tower control, it will genuinely just boil down to whichever is going to break first in pressure. As we see, all 3 players are on tower control. It's just a bloodbath on that tower at those last moments.
It was so funny, especially in those situations where you're just yearning for lead change. I especially for me, I tend to look at the number of the TC special and just hoping that I'm on the TC, hopefully waiting for that counter to tick down, and quickly waiting for the lead to change. And it's just so, like you said, it's very tense. Anything can happen, and it really just like you get really desperate, and hopefully you get the win like that, and pray that your mechanics is able, or special usage can get you far.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's at that moment where it genuinely does become to be a coin toss, especially if there's no specials in play. That right there is pretty much as close to a 50-50 you can get in this game. But that being game number 1 for Lichtschlotter, bringing the score 1-1 for this game number 2, we're going to be heading into game number 3, Robo Ramen Splat Zones. I am a Robo Ramen enjoyer through and through. I love this map so much.
This map is great. It's very I think I do like that it's very open. You know, it's very open. You can be able to hide, to go behind a lot of
Mm-hmm.
walls, and
Mm-hmm.
it's more forgiving to go against those, especially with a high AOE. But it still warrants a lot of strong mechanic play and
Mm-hmm.
special usage, especially for the other specials that are really good in the game currently.
Hmm. Yeah, no, it's like it's a deceptively large map. From a first glance, you wouldn't think the map is that big, but it's just there's so many ways that you can like chop up these angles, use your specials to try, or use the the map to try and avoid the special. It's so much bigger than you think, and just the fact that you can also like go under the map to try and go behind it. There's just so much I can say about this game, but with this map. But already these two teams are just fighting out for the match point on both sides. Whoever loses this will be going home from this tournament. The Slaughter does get the first zone flip. Both these two teams do get one pick on each side. Tacticooler at the ready at APT to try and use this momentum to try and get any advantage.
Oh, and being able to get the pick from the two Zuka shots, and having the answer for this Dynamo pick that we see here, and a very interesting pick for Dynamo, as it covers a majority of the zone and gets especially the wide swing picks, and this range is really incredible, especially protected by that glass barrier. So I would say it's a solid choice.
Mm-hmm. The Dynamo is definitely a surprise pick for me, as you're running two rollers on one weapon or one team comp, which is not something you see every day, and it is very controversial as to whether or not that's optimal or not. But right now we're seeing Lishlotter just running away with this game. Zone is at 40 points and taking for them. APT can't seem to get any footing in mid whatsoever, as Lishlotter is just cleaning up these members of APT one by one. Inkshot comes out to try and create some space, potentially even contest the zone a little bit, but no, it's not enough. 18 points and counting. Specials are being used left and right. APT has to make a breakaway right now to try and capture the zone if they want to stay alive for a little bit longer, and they're doing all they can do to try and get this zone captured in time, but no, it's not enough. APT cleans this. I'm sorry, the Charlotte cleans this game up, giving APT the loss at the nick of time.
Middle set adaptation and being able to answer, being able to just show dominantly that, hey, we can make a comeback in this set. And unfortunate, even though the comp change, maybe with a little more time, Abs could absolutely dominate there. But I think Lickschlatter definitely had an answer for that, as they just able to move around way faster and having specials that kind of space you out and say, hey, hold on, you can't move in yet.
Mm-hmm. And I think on top of that, the biggest falling here for APT was just the fact that they didn't really have enough sustained painting power for the zone here. Yeah. You have two rollers, you have a 52 count and a slosher. That's not enough. Like, you can't keep up with just two shooters with a team like that. It just wasn't quite enough, and it showed, especially at the end of that, why, even though APT had all the cards in them to actually win this game out, or at least bring it to a much closer scenario than what it turned out to be, at the end of the day, painting being one of the most fundamental things is just something that this weapon comp couldn't pull through in.
I completely agree. Painting is such a vital usage, especially in top level, high level, mid level, any type of play. It's such a great thing for having, for especially any kind of comp, So especially for other top level scenes,
Mm-hmm.
comps can work, but utilizing paint usage and map control is so foundational. It makes certain comps work the more you experiment with them.
Mm-hmm. But with that being said and done, it is unfortunate that APT has to be the one going home right now. A wonderful run through, even though a small Squid Junction it was, a wonderful run through this tournament. But now we're going to be looking at Honkai versus Lishlotter, which I want to preface this being a rematch from a game that we saw earlier today. This is going to be the moment that Lishlotter needs to really be asking themselves, telling themselves, can they adapt well enough for what they learned earlier against Honkai to be able to pull out this victory?
And Lickschlatter has momentum. I think they're warmed up and they'll be able to have an answer for Honkai. And hopefully maybe have to have a close hit. Not to say that Honkai can still show a dominant showing, and be able to pull through and say, hey, we're still the dominant force, and or maybe it could go their way for Lickschlotter and say, hey, we have an answer now.
Hmm. Yeah, it's definitely. I always love seeing rematches because it's definitely the unintentional way to ask for the run back, and it's just I'm excited to see exactly. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm excited to see exactly what these two teams are going to be bringing to the table. But as we head into these final portions of this tournament run, I'm pretty sure we're going to be. I know we're in the best of 5 now, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be doing a counter picking scenario. Am I right? It's best of 3. All right. Best of 3 strike system for the map. Alright, so we have no idea what these two teams will be starting on. It's going to be up in the air given the Squid Junction map pool anyways. But it's going to be a coin toss as to what we're going to be seeing first right now.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see how they'll be able to, or how Lickschlotter can be able to adapt to Honkai, or how Honkai can maintain the dominance that they're currently showing and head back into the grand final. So we'll see.
I am very surprised by these picks here. There's no zone picks from anyone. It is first up we do see Clamblitz on. I'm so bad at some of these newer map names. Is that Crablev Capital? That is right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crab Leg, not my favorite map, especially this mode. I do find zones enjoyable here, but for this map, in the mode, I want to hear your thought, Dart. What do you think about this map mode?
I think, for me anyways, this map mode specifically has always had a history of being an entertaining one. As a little bit of a history lesson here, I have most of my experience with CCA, and almost every single time that I cast this map, most specifically, it's always been like something insane happens that really
keeps
the map going. I'm not guaranteeing that we might see that here today. I'm just saying that has been a trend in the past, and I almost always see it with Crablet Clams, and I am somewhat expecting it here once again. And I hold this map in high regard because of that.
And I sort of agree with you here, especially for this map. I've had very intense moments of torture, especially how either way it could go, and how I could have a strong lead, and then I could just lose out of nowhere. And I've seen, like you said, I've seen very intense matches in this map mode specifically. So I'm interested to see why they might have picked this map pick, especially in the counter pick system, and see if they say, hey, maybe we have a game plan, and see if they can demonstrate that for us.
Mm-hmm. Especially considering this is a rematch from a set earlier today. I'm very interested to hear out whoever it was that picked this map mode, some of the reasoning as to why they picked it, because there is experience already between this matchup as to how these players play and what they're going to be doing, and just to be able to just pick at their brain and understand why they picked Clams Crab Leg over almost a majority of the other relatively seen better, in quotation marks, better maps.
Well, it could be quote unquote better, but it's still the game. It's still being able to just be better than your opponent. You know, we can say that Blood Zones is the best mode, but the other modes, don't count the other modes out. It's still part of the competitive game. It's still a test to see how you can play against certain weapons specials. So Clamblitz, Crab Leg, I would probably say it's contender to say, hey, we might be better than our opponents here.
Speaking of Crab Leg, I will say, I think the big point of interest here on this map specifically is gonna be that ramp leading up to the power basket, or the clam basket. Having a very good plan to defend that ramp or to attack that ramp will genuinely make or break how whoever wins this. Because if you have a very good defense, but maybe like a subpar offense, but you manage to only get like one power clam in and that's it. If your defense game is good, that one power clam in will win you the game, even if it was within the first minute. So those ramps are very, very vital, even though there is a secondary round.
I'm very interested to see of the Hydra pick in this comp changes. And very popular to use heavy weapons or the mini, and especially Edit here. Edit's a very popular pick, especially for those greats, run speed great, and just having range and be able to move so quickly, especially on top of the greats. Having that height advantage too.
And right now, with Tactical being online for both teams, is going to be a move to try and take advantage of that time as best they can. A back and forth trade constantly being put out from both sides. No signs of a clear advantage player advantage team right now, as both these teams are just kind of throwing themselves at each other to try and force that advantage. As we see once again, 2 players down for both sides. There's no clear winner right now, as both these teams are just at each other's throats.
It's out for blood or nothing here. It's seeing if, hey, can we get a quad first? It really is just a showing of just being able to spot each other fast and getting that opening confidently.
But that chaos might have been Honkai's plan all along, for the clan economy is looking very good for themselves, as they have 2 power clams at the ready, and with 3 down for English Launcher. That's going to be the first few points going for Honkai as they extend that lead even further, just keeping these points and keeping these clams coming, building off of that initial 20 clam buff they had earlier, and these can still keep going. 3 are down once again for the Schlatter, and the timer's still up. Basket's still open,
and it's such a strong showing. Just these games can happen so quick, and especially for CB, and that's the game. The game. Wow, you know.
It's just I was gonna mention, and during the time when these 2 teams were just constantly trading each other out, that we might see a clan blitz special where it's a nothing but a 4-minute stall fest turning into just 1 power clam scored at the very end. But in just a tournament of events, Honkai gets the power basket open, and just 100-0 with it without too much effort.
Yeah, we didn't get to see. All we had to see was a sweep in the next game. Yeah, Lichtschlotter needs to be able to have an answer for this, but we'll see how it later plays out for the counter picks in the best of 3. Hopefully they can slow this down and say, oh, that match didn't happen. Next game.
And that next game being Tower Control on Hagfish Market. This is gonna be very important and very stressful for the Schlatter. They already lost a set already to Honkai before. Do they have the will to last longer this time around and be the ones to send Honkai out of this tournament? Or will they let history repeat itself once again and have Honkai win out on top of the Schlatter?
And do they have the will? It's a very important question here, because they do have to really pump up the mechanics, the focus, the attention. They need to be able to prove that they can be better than their opponents here. Lichtschlotter needs to be able to show, changes. They need to be able to show that they have the better special play, and maybe tweak out Honkai's weaknesses a little more. Maybe play a little more back, maybe a little more defensively, paint the map, and see if they can just change the tides.
Yeah, Lischlacher should. I mean, this is like conjecture coming from a retired comp player from 2 years ago. But Lischlacher, I think Lischlacher, in my opinion, Lischlacher should probably just start to try and slow down Honkai as best they can.
Yeah,
Honkai is a
I
very
agree.
aggressive team. They like to go in and make sure Lischlacher doesn't have, or any team, anyways, like to make sure that they don't have no breathing room whatsoever. So if you can clean up your defense, make sure you plant yourself down and not give up too much space. You can give Honkai a very hard time to try and push past you. Or once you actually break some of their defenses, they're very weak on that end since they're so hyper aggressive.
Yeah, especially in the moments of when they flank, especially from their confident flank players, especially their aggressive players. They often tend to flank, especially in this map. Seeing both sides of the map is very important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the flame crowds are definitely going to be something vital to keep an eye out. It's from Honkai for the Slaughter, as one is already picked off out from the get-go from the Slaughter. Honkai having the player advantage immediately, even though the Slaughter has a tacticooler right now. They're forced to respect the pressure from Honkai, but 3 does go down for Honkai as a hammer goes out to try and make something out of a terrible situation.
A glimmer of hope. A glimmer of hope. Maybe they could be able to stretch this long enough to show that they finally had an answer for this this strong, aggressive approach that Honkai's been using the whole tournament.
And as we see right now, Honkai 2 players down, make that a delayed 3-player down scenario. Lischlacher is looking to try and push his tower, get a few points on their side, potentially get that first checkpoint. Nautilus looking to clear some area, make sure that Honkai can't push up as fast as they usually do. But with the Tacticooler online for them, that might be a bit of a harder thing to stop, as Lischlacher is already at the first checkpoint and cleared it.
Oh wow, and being able to do so in a way that seems like they have an opportunity here, and the dome goes up. It's looking quite nice, and handling that upper level area, and especially important to keep that and going at, and the decap going in to get some picks. Unfortunately, it goes down to Cabby, but they're still pushing.
This is very dangerous territory for Honkai. That zone, that area between the last 2 checkpoints is very hard to recover from. But as I say that's a wipeout from Lischlacher. Honkai are now going to be ones who are going in to try and make sure they can't breathe at all. Lischlacher has no time to even think about going for the tower control if they're not even alive. And as I say that, one pick does go out from the decapitator, the Viper looking to try and create some more pressure, create some more space, as that tower control is already at that first checkpoint.
And Honkai, they show a very strong way of just playing it safe, being able to wait, poke out when they were going to be able to drop, and maybe do a play it's completely, desperate. It's important to catch plays that just like, oh, I want to stop this push, I need to stop it now, and Honkai being able to see that and use it to say, hey, we just need to be able to get these players that are in a panic mode.
Honkai looking to try and keep this aggression going, making sure Lischlacher has no breathing room, but some of the damage has already been done. They're already threatening that second checkpoint, but not without such a still sizable lead from Lischlacher. That second checkpoint already gone for them, and then a little bit extra means that there still is some playing room, especially at this point where the tower currently is, something that's very hard to push past from if you're the attacking team. It's showing that Lischlacher has the tools they need to slow Honkai down, and slow Honkai down they did, as this tower is resetting back to a neutral state.
And I like that you point out in that section of the map, it's very hard to get a push, especially lead in that part of the map. And having good special play and being able to do so quickly is so important here.
And now Honkai are struggling once again to properly regroup, reform. Lischlacher being the ones to give them the aggression back to them, as that tower has moved past that point that Honkai couldn't push back for, and threatening that third checkpoint. 2 guns go down for Lischlacher, make that 3. Honkai is looking to try and push this tower to return it back to mid and hopefully get that second checkpoint down as we head into the final minute of the game.
Specials are building up, and See, but unfortunately, they're going down. Lickschlotter poking them out and being able to just say, hey, we're not respecting your special hold. We're going to go ahead and just kill you anyway.
it's a thing where Honkai is starting to collapse a bit under this pressure. Lickschlotter, who Honkai knows that they can just utterly clean the floor with, is starting to show some resistance to that. But as the hammer comes in and to try and make some chaos, pull some tension away, that tower is at that second checkpoint and does break through. As we see Honkai trying to make sure this tower can get as far as they can, but there's only a 4-point differential between these two teams, and with 2 down from both sides, it's gonna be a scramble to try and get back on this tower. Lickschlotter trying to make sure that no more damage can be done, while Honkai trying to make sure they can keep this momentum going. But with 10 seconds remaining, 2 players down for each team, this might go into overtime.
A strong clutch play for the decaf as they get ready to try to stop this overtime push. And let's see how they can be able to respond to this. They are playing for that upper level side, but they're going ahead and 2 down from the side of Honkai, getting a wipeout. That's the game.
And Unseen, just last minute play, Honkai tried their best to get those few extra points. 4 points was all they needed to try and break through, but it wasn't enough. Honkai lost this first game, to Lickschlotter, showing that they have what it takes to actually beat them down.
I've said this so much. Adaption. It really is that key word, and Lickschlotter, especially in this map, just being able to just stop them right in their tracks and really handle their aggressive style really well. On the side of Honkai, there is very strong showing of special usage, although they're getting poked out a lot more often. I feel like they're being kind of called out. They're saying Lickschlotter is very aware that they use their specials in certain moments, and they're being able to kill them effectively there.
Yeah, Lickschlotter has definitely learned for the past 3 games to try and effectively zone the Honkai out and do what I mentioned in between the last 2 games, is just slow themselves down, plant themselves, make sure that the Honkai can't just run over them, and it's shown that it has worked. And now, as we head into game number 3, Rainmaker on Scorched Gorge, it's going to be the question of, can Lickschlotter do it again? Can they poke out and zone out Honkai, or will Honkai learn from what Lickschlotter has changed, and can they be the ones to try and change up how they play?
Well, this is another map that can go either way. It's a very swingy map, and it could be the decisive match for either teams, and especially how Lickschlotter is going or performing. They're handling the aggressive response from Honkai well, so maybe there could be a play style change from Honkai. Maybe they'll play rather more back, more, let's say, more in a pace that's different, that can just completely unsettle the other opposing team.
Yeah, that's just get the $1 million question here. Can Lickschlotter do what needs to be done and just slow Honkai down, or will Honkai just inevitably learn from what's been happening and just outpace them? And already, 1 does go down for Honkai. Lickschlotter looking to try and take advantage of it as best they can. Tactical online for Honkai to try and remedy some of that damage. But no, we see another pick going down. Rainmaker is going to get grabbed by Lickschlotter. He's going to be the first one to move in and get a few points on the board at the very least.
And this opening is definitely a strong one, especially for their confidence and killing them confidently. But unfortunately, the Rainmaker does go down. Wumi going in there and stopping that push before it goes any further, and lets Honkai be in a dangerous position. And see, but as they go back and strongly and quickly back into that, to get into that checkpoint.
two players are only up right now for the Schlatter, especially being used to try and zone them out. Not much can be done in that situation as Honkai positions himself beautifully with a fall-off shot from the crab at the last moment. That's the kind of things that you actually want to take advantage of as best they can. Now Honkai have control of the Rainmaker, and they're rushing up. They're running up to make sure the Schlatter can't properly regroup and slow them down.
That was incredible drop shot from, or edit, like, or special play from the dualies there. Being able to handle and get checkpoint early, or as quickly as they can, and as Cappy uses the Zuka to be able to poke out some kills. Being able to try to get some points here, as they do, but gets poked out pretty slowly by Lickschlotter.
And Honkai, one player does actually stay back to provide jumps for anyone else who are coming in, and they do manage to get one pick off of the Decapitator, meaning Lickschlotter is down a player once again, as Honkai is now regrouped in mid. They're waiting for that Rainmaker reset so they can use it to their advantage, using the extra pain from that pop to just solidify their hold over mid. And once again, they're going to be the ones slowly just waiting out, see what Lickschlotter is going to be doing to try and punish them heavily. It's a trade-off back and forth between these two teams. Another player does go down for Honkai, not without a trade out in between for the Schlatter. Once again, it's a back and forth fight between these two teams.
Yeah, and I really like the way the Schlatter is playing. They're not playing that aggressive. They're really just playing well, trying to be able to not get so predictable. For Honkai, Honkai really plays on punishing habits, punishing players that really are really aggressive, because their strengths are just playing as a team and playing for 1v1 kills and that 1v1 situation. In the midst of all that, I watched that Nautilus just do a fall-off shot from the dualies getting the pick as they backed away, and I think that's gonna be the edge that they need. The Schlatter needs to actually get that checkpoint going. And even though they're at 2 down right now, Honkai is still not at the ready to try and contest that, and they try to breakaway to get a few extra points, but they're stopped at 2 points short from lead, and they managed to engine just another additional points. They are currently in the lead. And it could be the decisive moment, but it's not. It's plausible to get the lead back. It's not very thin margins where it's like at the 1 remaining. They can still be able to swing this back. It just depends on how well Lickschlotter just stops them right in their tracks.
There might not be a huge margin of error between these two teams, but that means the Schlatter does have the tempo advantage, even if it's a small tempo advantage, meaning Honkai is going to be the ones to try to be the desperate ones to try and get that extra point so they can retake lead. But one does go down for the Schlatter. Honkai does lose a player in return, and then Rainmaker is down. 45 seconds and remaining. The pop goes for the Schlatter as they take the Rainmaker and they jump it off with a reset.
How are they able to manage to reset it when they're all looking at that Rainmaker, all eyes on me on that Rainmaker? It really is just trying to stop and get a play or lead quickly, and Lickschlotter's very well aware. They're saying, hey, we need to move this thing out of the way. Let's get specials up, let's stop this push, and let's win this game.
With 18 seconds and counting, that 1 point lead may be the difference that the Schlatter needs to actually win this out. The desperation is starting to get up high for Honkai as their time is running out for them. It's a make-away play for that Rainmaker to make sure it cannot go any further. And they do get the pick, and it's going to be a fight to make sure that bubble does not pop so they can win this game. The Schlatter wins the game over Honkai, reversing the script from before.
And that's an upset. That is an upset play, and I had no doubt in my mind that Adaption would pave the way for Lickschlotter to win against a very, very prominent team of Honkai. Very well established in the competitive scene. This is, like I said, this is a perfect opportunity for players to really show, hey, I have a chance, and I think I'm worthy to play in a higher level.
1 point. That's all the Slaughter needed to try and use their advantage they did. Honkai got desperate at the end to try and make sure they had enough time in the overtime to try and go for a last minute play to get that extra point. But with a breakaway, a sudden shift from the Slaughter's defensive, they went on the aggression for that Rainmaker to make sure it dropped, so they had no time to re-pick it up. That was a beautiful last minute win there.
And it was, I don't, I need to know the decaf's mental process over just doing something so risky as to kill and go behind and just kill the Rainmaker and create that barrier. It was so far from me, but it won them the match. If I was playing and that happened, I would be. That's all I'm saying. It was. It worked, and it made them go this far. So, and they could have a shot against Seed 1.
And now, with that losers bracket finals game set and done, we're now moving on to grand finals. Insert creative name here versus Le Slaughter, the seed number 1 team versus the seed number 3 team, who just beat out the team that beat them before previous in this bracket run. This is where the pressure is really going to start stacking up. This is where you have to be at your very top.
Yeah, especially in grand finals. It's such a, everyone is watching the grand finals. That is the coup de grace. That's what decides the tournament. That's where people get their bragging rights for winning the tournament either 30 times or their first time. So it really pumps up the anxiety a lot and tension. So that's what makes this competitive Splatoon very exciting. So.
I'm still not over the fact that Le Slaughter manages to just barely win that last game out with just 1 point. It shows that they know what they need to do in order to properly adapt. And now, since we're in grand finals, we have a best of 5 scenario versus our previously best of 3, which Le Slaughter has pretty much exclusively almost been. So losing 1 game isn't going to be as such of a impact to them as the previous sets have been. They do have that extra game to try and learn what insert creative name here is going to do against them, to try and learn and use that advantage against them.
Yeah, and especially in the comps of Slaughter and how not a lot of players are familiar with that comp. It's usually like, bare bone, shot, gal, strong weapons, pen, blaster, but decaf is such an anomaly. And it's a strong weapon, and so it could be the kryptonite for certain teams, or they could have a good response against that weapon. And I'm really interested to see. I'm not sure if these guys have faced each other earlier in the bracket, but I'm really interested to see how these 2 teams will play against each other. So.
I know they haven't faced each other early in the bracket because insert creative name here hasn't been 2 losers. And Le Slaughter went to losers right after they went up against Honkai, which Honkai won from Le Slaughter to go up against integrative name here before getting to the losers bracket as well. So this is the first time most of these teams, at least here in Squid Junction anyways, the first time both these 2 teams will be facing off each other. But now we see what maps and modes these 2 teams will be fighting against each other. And first up is once again Clam Bits on Crab Leg Capital.
But you can't get enough of this map mode, huh? You're gonna just see this forever. The whole set, maybe. But back to this map. I think this was the map that Le Slaughter lost in the last set, I believe, or I'm not sure, but it was one of the earlier maps that we get to see, and it really does, and it happens so fast. So, like we were talking about earlier, that it does, could be some and very intense moments of heroic moments or stupid moment. I don't know. It could be anything that in between, and I'm really interested to see how it plays out and see if either team has a chance in taking this map.
I will say right now, this must be a scary situation from Le Slaughter going up against insert creative name here. I mentioned previously earlier, but insert creative name here has gone this entire run in Squid Junction without dropping a set or dropping a game. They, to be fair, it is only a 7-team tournament, but still going this far and going up against seeds number 2 and a lot of like higher seeded teams without dropping a single game. That's you got to be a little bit scared against that. I would be scared against that a little bit.
And being familiar with Seed 1, they've been playing and winning a lot of tournaments, so this is their comfortable zone. Yeah, like, we got this, y'all. Like, just put the music, the celebration music up, but don't count Lichtschleiter out. They could have a response. Anything can happen in competitive, and that's the beauty of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and like you said, anything could happen. In the last set we just saw Honkai versus Lichtschleiter. Honkai, who has already beaten out Lichtschleiter 2-0, lost to them 1-2. So like Lichtschleiter, it's definitely gonna be up to how well Lichtschleiter is gonna be adapting to what they learn, especially from this first game. This first game is very important to them to pick up any habits, any game plans, or anything they want to try and use up against Insert Creative Name here.
Yeah, Lichtschleiter should be feeling themselves. They won a very hard set. They won a set that was they should have lost, but they won. They came out on top, and they were able to adapt so well. And they have hot hands. They'll be able to like warm up pretty easily since they've been playing. Insert Creative Name here, very dominant, but they could be cooled off. They could not have as much momentum as Lichtschleiter, which is going to be able to wait and see.
I'm waiting to see exactly what we're doing right now. Both of these two teams are at the ready, but haven't fully readied up yet. 30 seconds until this game does go through, and now I'm eager to see exactly if there will be any like slight weapon adjustments from both these two teams. We've seen what both these teams have brought earlier in the run from Squid Junction, but I want to know if I'm curious to see if there will be any adjustments to try and like maybe predict like one thing or another from both ends.
And I do remember Lichtschleiter pulling out the Hydra, and that pick didn't go so well. So maybe they might switch to a lighter heavy weapon that can move fast and kill faster. But we'll wait and see. But we're going in for Mahi zones actually.
Mahi zones. If the voice in my head can confirm if that was a misinput or if it was fix it. It was a misinput. All right, so we are actually supposed to be here on Mahi zones, which we've seen this map mode like 2 or 3 times already. So it's gonna be up to. I mentioned before, it's gonna be up to whoever can get that first zone flip. It typically can ride it out to the first 40 points, and we see right now, even though Lichtschleiter got the first zone flip, Insert Creative Name here is playing slow, playing steadily to try and make sure they can get the retake almost immediately after.
The Stamper pick going up for the other pick. I'm a little biased with Stamper picks, but also Decap. It's very aggressive comps for either teams, and especially the roller. It's 2 aggressive weapons instead of Insert Creative Name here. They're able to really kill things pretty fast to just be able to handle and just stopping Lichtschleiter altogether.
Yeah, I mean, Honkai already was a trouble for Lichtschleiter with how aggressive they've been. With the Insert Creative Name here, who was more aggressive than Honkai, Lichtschleiter definitely has an uphill battle to try to go up against. 20 points and count remaining from Insert Creative Name here. It's going to be a breakaway to try to reclaim zone, and that they do with the Re-Slider before any more damage can be done. Both teams have players down, 2 down for Lichtschleiter. They're going to be ones who have to be forced to back up a bit if they want to properly regroup and hold once again.
They can hold their breath. They have the zone capped, but for how long? It's a relief to get the zone and being able to endure maybe 2 minutes of pain or 2 minutes of, hey, we can just win this match. But let's see if Lichtschleiter can be able to properly hold zone and get zone back convincingly and just stopping a lot of aggressive showings from Insert Creative Name as they get a triple here.
Yeah, I don't know. This is very dangerous territory right now for Lichtschleiter. They gotta make some magic moments happen right now. 10 points and ticking. It's gonna be do or die here to try and get the zone before any more damage can be done. But the wipeout from Insert Creative Name here just cleans up Lichtschleiter with no effort at all.
And the drip pick and the booyah pick. Yeah, it's uh, there needs it's very strong showing from the side of insert creative name here. They're just being at their comfort zone, and and especially with problems arising, they're just able to just say, hey, we just have to be better than our opponents.
Hmm. I mean, with being the number one seeded, they're top seeded for a reason. So it goes to show that LeSlaughter already was gonna have like a bit of an uphill battle to try and go up against to win this year. But right here, I want to say this was such a good attempt to try and retake zone. They were almost there, but Instagram name here just were able to just hold strong and not let anything go out of control. And it, LeSlaughter were really struggling here. I'm very curious to see exactly what they're going to be doing, especially given their experience against Honkai and how they quickly improved from that.
And especially for insert creative name here being the number one seed and being well experienced and competitive, being able to go through a lot of tournaments. They're well aware of behaviors and how teams play in certain situations, certain times in games. So if Slaughter can just be able to understand that and maybe uh, do new approaches, that could really set them for success here.
New approaches. I'm very excited to see exactly if there will be any as we head into game number 2, Rainmaker on Humpback Pump Track. I think I mentioned this earlier in the stream, but I like Humpback Pump Track. I do
You
have fun
do?
with this map. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. It's not my favorite map, but
Well, I mean, I know I definitely said this before, but I'm a Blaster player, so
yes, yes, I would love it too if I was a.
yeah, but yeah, I doubt we'll see any blasters here. I don't think any of these, from what we've seen so far, any of these teams historically played blasters. We do see a Swiffer, which I'm not sure how I feel
So,
for.
oh. Very confident pick. We might see some cool trick shots. Who knows?
Mhm. Yeah, I love seeing a lot of some of the Squiffer like trick shot videos on Twitter from time to
Yes.
time. So I definitely hope to see one here today at Squid Junction. But no, the Slaughter does get the Rainmaker first, and they're going to be ones to try and push up to see exactly if they can get how much points they can get away with, and how much they can control this zone, control their checkpoint, and they actually do get the first dunk without any issues.
And especially the change of comp, it could bite them in the back in the end. Maybe they're not well aware that they can be able to just handle, weapons they're not, the insert creative name here are not familiar with, or they are familiar with, but their game plan is now quite working here as they get, as Slaughter gets a good lead, but insert creative name here stopping them dead in their tracks.
Yeah, it was a bit of a desperate play to try and knock it out then and there. Just really backfired on the Slaughter. They got wiped out immediately from integrated name here, and now they're gonna be the ones pushing up. They're gonna be the ones who are looking to try to get this Rainmaker and get that first checkpoint as quickly as they can.
Yeah, and seeing if they can have a response here. Slaughter getting a reasonable lead, especially in the situation of their play and how that can just, momentum. The momentum can just build up and they can be able to get the lead changed quite fast. So Slaughter has to be able to confidently stop their pushes and slow them down.
I mean, yeah, like with only 14 points remaining from the Slaughter, it's a great name here. It definitely has a bit of a mountain to climb to try and get through that, but that might be a bit of an easier thing to be done for them, as they did have the bubbler and the path there. But no, unfortunately, the rain did manage to push them out off of this ledge and force them away. And now they're the ones who are backing up to that checkpoint once again, pretty much resetting that Rainmaker back to its resting place.
And Slaughter having a good response there. They're able to stop there. The push that unfortunately insert creative name here did drop and were unable to get that lead there, but hopefully they can get another one later in the match. But also Slaughter is showing dominant showing defense. Maybe this is their game plan.
Maybe it could be the fact that they're trying to slow themselves down to make sure that they let no accidents happen going up into the Slaughter. But we see 2 does go down from the Slaughter. Instagram name here, looking to get that pick up that Rainmaker and try and hit, potentially get a few extra points from what they initially got already. But that Rainmaker has not been popped yet. Both teams has 1 player down. It's a fight off against the Swiffer and the splatter shot on one end of the map. The splatter shot does unfortunately lose that, and that divided chaos may have been the opening that they Instagram here to try and take lead, but they're 5 points short.
Let's see if they can be able to stop this push. Or should they stop the play? They're so close, but yet so far. The Dome does get over here, but is stopped immediately by Lichtschlotter. They're able to breathe for a moment here, but for how long?
I want to remind folks at home right now that with it being a 3-point differential between these teams right now, this is almost exactly the same scenario the Slaughter was up against Integrated Name here, or I'm sorry, against the previous game before they won that second game out. And that 3-point difference could be the key for the Slaughter winning this game out here and now, with Integrated Name here getting a little bit desperate to try and close that lead.
And a very interesting spot that they left there. I believe that was intentional or unintentional, but that spot in the left side of the map kind of, well, they're able to respond to it, but I was just about to say that Rainmaker being in the spot for Integrated Name here would have been really dangerous, considering that they could have just jumped in and immediately pushed.
And the Swiffer is, for some reason, in the backline getting punished immediately. And Rainmaker tried to go in for a few extra points or try to get the Rainmaker far away from their side of the map anyways, but gets also punished immediately. And now there's only 20 seconds remaining. 2 players down for both sides. This could very well come down to the wire, as Rainmaker has not been picked up yet by Integrated Name. The Slaughter has the chance to properly regroup and get ready to defend this upcoming push as the Rainmaker does reset.
And desperately trying to get picks, and in the Dome play in the middle, and Lichtschlotter getting the game.
Once again, a repeat from what we saw from last set. That minor difference in points was the key for Lichtschlotter to abuse the desperation from Integrated Name here in order for them to secure the victory at the very last moment, carrying the score to 1-1.
And at this point, it could be a turning point, and getting that game is so crucial, and especially for how Integrated Name here, they're very dominant, they're all very good players, and one loss, that could lead to a mental shift where they're like, why did I lose? But they could just be like, okay, we lost, how about we don't? How about we do this in a way that's more feasible? How about we go weapons that can stop them dead on their tracks?
And to another point too, this also is the first game this entire tournament run that Integrated Name here has lost. They have been perfect up until this point, meaning that they definitely do have something less they're willing to lose as we head into game number 3. The record's broken now. They don't have anything. Not that they don't have anything to lose, but they're willing to go the extra mile just to make sure they actually win this at the end of the day, rather than keeping their perfect record. That's less pressure on them and more focus for them to actually lock in on the game.
And having a clean sheet and that one little loss in the middle of it could be an eyesore, or just why did I do that? We were so perfect. So we'll see how that momentum can shift for Lichtschlotter, and see if they can just show, hey, we have a chance. How about we show what we got?
And on Zones Ramen, no less. And we do see, once again, Integrated Name here has a few weapon swaps on their team to try and maybe keep up with the Slaughter, maybe try and see exactly if this will be the one to utterly break them. And the Slaughter did just get the first point, the first zone flip on their side, and they're looking to hold on to this as long as they can. Tactical or online for both sides. 1 does go down for the Slaughter, 2 goes down for the Slaughter, 1 down for Integrated Name here. It's just a back and forth play for both these teams to try and keep this advantage, keep its momentum going as best they can.
And I do like how Lichtschlotter is holding that right side of the map, just being able to just hold what they can for this aggressive Stamper play that I'm a big fan of already. But as I said earlier, Lichtschlotter does prove to hold some defenses, but they can't really stop that Stamper for stamping.
The tides have shifted. Lichtschlotter now are being ones who are being forced on the back foot right now, getting one pick. Integrated name potentially getting another pick. The Inkstorm does come in to try and create a bit more space, but everyone from Integrated name here backs up to respect the space given. And 2 goes down in response to Lichtschlotter for the 2-for-1 special. But these two teams are just going at each other's throats. But the thing that people gotta be mindful of is the zone. 8 points remaining for Integrated name here. The damage has been done.
Yeah, and be able to get that zone cap, and being able to do so while their aggressive weapons and players are able to try to get a stop and keep that zone and hopefully achieve a knockout. But Lichtschlotter holding it for dear life, seeing if they can just have a chance in swinging this the other way.
Most definitely, it's really going to be pressure is definitely starting to build up. That big point deficit between the two teams for zone control is definitely going to be something to keep very mindful of, especially with these prolonged fights, with these fights that you don't have any pushing power to try and retake that zone. There's only 20 penalty points remaining from Integrated name here. Lichtschlotter has to get something going right here, right now. 1 does go down for Lichtschlotter, 1 to go down for Integrated name here. You got to make some plays here and now if you want to try and stay alive for a little bit longer. 2 down for Lichtschlotter, but the Rain's Inkstorm is on the zone. It could be enough to try and get the zone, but no, a wipeout's going to clean up this game, and I think that's going to be game, set, and done for them.
It's such a wow. It's just the carbon plays and being able to just just spot them convincingly, and doing so in a way that says, okay, we lost that match, but now let's actually try. Lichtschlotter not really. Maybe they can try to stop the comps that's showing them that they have an issue they need to fix.
Yeah, I think the big point and problem now for Lichtschlotter is that Stamper. That Stamper is doing a very extraordinary job of just getting in the back, especially with the Zipcaster, and just pulling attention away, getting those picks, and just being able to buy more time for Integrated name here to get more points on the scoreboard. And it's just that Stamper is definitely going to be a thorn in Lichtschlotter's side going forward.
That Stamper is inspiring me. That is some great plays out there, but and hopefully we get to see somehow that they're able to handle some issues where communication, especially with the Zipcast, it's such a crucial thing to communicate with your team and being able to displace, making sure that you don't get hit by the Zipcast AOE that happens when you're close to a wall, and the Stamper happens to Zipcast towards the wall. It's super vital for Zipcast to work like that, and being able to stop that is crucial.
Yeah, it's going to be a question of what Lichtschlotter is going to be doing to try and adapt to that as we head to game number 4. Match point for Integrated name here. We're going to be going on Rainmaker Museum Dolphoncino.
Back into this map, and this could be a comp that could be a problem for Lichtschlotter, since Insert Creative Name has a lot of long-range weapons that are dominant, especially for mid-control. So I'm interested to see how they might approach this, or if they're able to play early, incredibly fast. How can they be able to hold so that Insert Creative Name here can play impatiently and maybe more risky?
These adjustments are going to be vital here from Lichtschlotter to try if they want to stay alive in the set for a little bit longer. And once again, we see Insert Creative Name here get a few more different weapon swaps. A sploosh-o-matic, not something you see at all these days.
That's not what I thought, but it could work. I guess anything like that works. And the opening hammer getting a pick early. Well, I'm biting my words here. It could decide the match.
It means already deciding the match. 3 down for Lischlotter. Integrated name here has no resistance for that first checkpoint. Already down within 30 seconds. Now they have such huge map control. They have such a presence in mid, heading into spinner. As Lischlotter using tactical to try and remedy a push, to try and force something so that they can get their footing back. But they do get 1 pick from Instagram names here, but 2 does go down for Lischlotter. The hammer comes in, creates some mayhem before eventually getting picked away.
They need to be able to stop this aggressive play, but in a way that seems so hard to deal with. And the decap getting 2 picks, this could be able to help them.
With three pretty much down from insert creative name here. Lischlotter has freeway for that Rainmaker checkpoint, and now they're going in to just extend the lead as far as they can before eventually getting picked off immediately before any more damage can be done. Now 1 player is down for Lischlotter. Tactical at the ready, tries to hold on to this area as best they can. Rainmaker does get dropped immediately after getting picked up. A beautiful thing from Lischlotter to just buy some extra time for them so they can properly regroup in mid, as Instagram in here has their own tactical at the ready.
Now this is a very important moment here for Lischlotter. Being able to have this lead, it's strong, but they need to be able to hold, like this moment here, they need to be able to hold this map for as long as they can. They need to be able to just stop this, because this their strategy that seems to be working, especially against these fast comps. And hopefully they don't have to wait too long. Maybe they find an opening, 3 picks or a couple picks, and stopping this push dead in his tracks before he gets the lead change.
Oh, just 1 point from getting lead change. They managed to do it, and they get a few extra in the chaos from whatever that play was. Lischlotter, now the ones who are not in the lead to integrated him here. Integrated him here as they get 2 players down. 1 player sharking on the far right side of this map to get ready to defend this upcoming push from Lischlotter.
They need to be able to get that push back. They need to be able to get this lead back, and doing so in a way that guarantees a lead change, because 27 remaining, it's not out of the question to change the tides, but they need to do so convincingly. And the Carbon goes down, 3 down. They're able to get 3 picks. They could change here, but the sploosh saying otherwise, getting that pick. I don't know where that sploosh came from, but it killed them.
I think that sploosh going in bought them just enough time to get for them so that they can probably defend this. Lischlotter just 2 points away from taking lead before unfortunately losing the Rainmaker for the game again, as it is brought down back to mid. As we had 1 minute, 45 seconds remaining, Lischlotter is going to be the one who has to try to go on the aggression here if they want to retake the lead once again.
They were so close, but yet so far again. And Harshy holding this top right side stalling, and that's part of the mode that everyone hates, the stalling. But it's another way to just be able to, you know, handle and going through the mode efficiently and saying, hey, let's not let them hold. Let's stop their push, or make sure that we have a chance, especially in this limited time. And I think they're doing so convincingly.
Is there a shot in the back line from Integrated name here, as they are now 2 players down, in favor for 2 players down for Lischlotter, but they have the clear way to try and get those points, try to remedy those points once again. 1 minute remaining from match point for Integrated name here. Everything's going to come down to these last few moments if Integrated name wants to take this set here and now, or if Lischlotter wants to stay alive for a little bit longer. They are 3 down, and things are not looking good for Lischlotter.
Unfortunate selection bomb getting 2 picks. They were well positioned to get something going, but unfortunate for Lischlotter. But looking really bright for Insert Creative name here, and they're able to stall the last 20 seconds, and the sploosh, you know, doing sploosh things.
Yeah, at this point, with 10 seconds remaining and where the Rainmaker is, there really isn't much that Lischlotter can do to try and take the Rainmaker away. It's such an annoying position to try and get past, surrounded by integrated names here. I think that's gonna be game, but no, it is popped! The Rainmaker is strong! They gotta pop this now if they won't have any hope to try and win this in the overtime scenario, and they do pick it up! This could be the play that they need to try and stay alive in this step for a little bit longer. 1 player goes up for integrated name here. Lischlotter has control of the Rainmaker, and they gotta go now! There's only 50 seconds for that Rainmaker before it loses, but the hammer's going in, carrying some chaos.
Insert creative name here, doing unfathomable things to stop this game, and the Zuka popping out here, everything is shooting this thing down, and the sploosh coming behind the Zuka play, getting 2 picks. That's the set, and that's the tournament. Insert creative name here wins this set 3-1 and the tournament.
Oh, it would have been a glorious overtime victory if Slaughter was able to pull through, but Insert Creative Name just had just enough tools to stop any hopes and dreams of that ever happening as they take game number 3. They take Squid Junction with only 1 game lost this entire run.
That's a win rate record, win-loss that I wouldn't be that mad about. I would be really happy with, and taking that home and taking another badge and taking another tournament. It's another day. It's another day in the office.
These 2 teams did extraordinarily well. The Slaughter had the tools in them to properly adapt for Insert Creative Name here, but unfortunately, it was Insert Creative Name who adapted to whatever the Slaughter was adapting to, causing them to be off tempo just long enough for them to be able to take out the game at the very end. But still, I gotta say it again, both these teams did phenomenally well, and making it this far, both of you, Slaughter especially, you gotta be very proud for the run you had today.
Very proud. I'm very proud of Slaughter. Slaughter's incredible showing and being able to make an upset and getting this far and showing a very dominant showing, especially from the players, all of them really. They're being able to just show that they're able to be mechanically really good, and especially in their game sense too.
What today, even though it was a small tournament run, only 7 teams signed up for Squid Junction today, it was still a beautiful thing to watch. I am very glad to have been there and witnessed all of these teams give it their all to try and win today. But with that being said and done, that's gonna pretty much wrap up things here. It's a great name here. Congratulations to your run, and the Slaughter, Honkai, and everyone else who made it this far and who came out today and played. Give yourselves a pat on the back for just playing the game, because sometimes just being able to enter these tournaments is the first step to being able to drastically improve. But with that being said and done, we're just start wrapping up here and now. So, hey, buddy, anything to plug, anything where they can find you and whatnot?
Oh, bet you'll find me in a game, in an open game, ranked game, something. I don't have a Twitter, but I love to still be in the community. You'll probably find me on Discord. I'll probably be around. So. But it's always great to
and well, you can find me at both Twitter, Twitch, Blue Sky, and almost any social at SPF_dark. I'm pretty much always casting once a week, if not once every 2 weeks. You'll find me either Dapple, CCA, Splatoon Tourney if it's in season and whatnot. I'm around, and I'm always happy to cast. But I think with that being said and done, there is one more thing to talk about here, and there is a Ko-fi, if I believe, yes, to all of our supporters here that supports Dapple Productions, Squidato and Dual Marmalade. Thank you for supporting the coffee here at Dapple Productions. It keeps the lights on and keeps the system running. So thank you for your support. Thank you. But that being said and done, that's gonna wrap up our block here. I say block as if we swapped out. No, our run here at Squid Junction. It's a pleasure to be here with you, and I hope those of you enjoyed today's showing, and hope we'll get to see you again in 2 weeks when Squid Junction comes around yet again. So enjoy the night out. Get your drink, get your food, and just have a good rest of your night.
Thank you so much for having this commentating. I'm so glad that I get to have this experience and able to see some great sets, so it's really nice to be given this opportunity to commentate for everyone.
And of course, I don't know how I managed to forget this going around, but production,
streamer!
Mr. Voice in my head. I always refer to any streamer as Voice in my head, but Jorian for sticking out. Jorian had a very long week this week and does a lot for the production of most streams. If you watch anything Splatoon related, that's like from a big quotation marks big network. Jorian's probably done something there, so a lot of these sets cannot happen without him. So huge shout out with that. But
Shout out.
that is Squid Junction. That is who we are, and have a good night.